can make this a little better. I think that's good. So today, let's see, I'll do this. Okay, just told some people I was going live. So I'm here on Brisket Boomers, my YouTube channel. I'll just do a little intro because I know some of you who might be watching soon may not know me, or maybe they will. I don't know. So, oh, my friend Chrissy said she might come over. So I just want to remind everybody that I am a short bio just to get started. So I am, hello. Hi, Christy. So just a little history. If you haven't been here before, I am type 1 diabetic. I've been type 1 diabetic for 55 years. So everything I approach kind of has that in the background. I'm also will be 72 next month in July. And I have been on a carnivore diet for almost 8 years. So all that pushed in together, I'm hosting Brisket Boomers, and I go by my name on Instagram and Facebook, and I do health coaching in a group and in an individual. So, hi. So I wanted to talk about some carnivore benefits today that ended up unexpectedly being very life-changing benefits. And now I'll go over a few of the benefits that I've had in the history of my carnivore diet. In the first 6 months of carnivore, I lost the floaters in my eyes. I only put these on my reading glasses so that I can see the comments and I can kind of see them. They're awfully small. I wish there was a way you could get them to be bigger, but I don't think there is. I had floaters in my eyes that were so bad that I could really barely see. There were so many of them. And within 6 months, they were gone. So that was pretty cool. The other thing is, now, I don't know if it was 6 months. It was about a year. And I didn't really know that this had happened. But within the first year, my husband and I, who is now deceased, but we went on this trip. He was invited to go to Moscow and to Italy to teach painting. And it was in 2019 in September. So it was almost a year that we had been carnivore, because we started carnivore. Well, he started in October 2018. I started in November of 2018. And I had ear pain when I'm on airplanes, like really bad ear pain, yeah, ear pain when we took off and landed, and it would be so bad that I could not function, and I had to hold my head. I usually put these ear things in my ears, and it was so painful that I would just cry. And so anyway, we took off. I was a little nervous. I didn't have the things for my ears because I couldn't find them. They were called earplanes, I think. And um, I'm getting text from my son. Just a minute. I'm going to say in a minute. Okay. So anyway, when we took off for Moscow, the first place I'd ever been out of the country besides Mexico and Canada. Um, Hello. Hi. Hi. Um, I had no ear pain. I was like totally normal. No ear pain at all. The first 6 months that I was carnivore, I coughed up mucus, which I think is so high, which I think is so funny, but I did. And I actually still cough up mucus a little bit, just a little bit. Maybe once every couple of days, I cough up mucus. And I think for me, that's like a detox. It's just like, okay, good. I'm still detoxing after almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years in November. So anyway, those were the biggies that I could really see right away that had changed. But the other things were that my brain worked better. Like I could go inside of a big building and find my way around. And I could not do that before carnivore. Before carnivore, if I went into a big building, I'd get lost and I'd be panicked. And this is what this story is about. I also, oh, hello. I'm very close. I'm in Greenwood Lake, New York, which is outside of the city. The same thing would happen to me on driving. I could easily get lost driving. And over the years, I quit pretty much all driving because my husband was always around. He was an artist and he liked to be in charge. So he liked to drive. So I let him, and I pretty much did not drive at all except when we were on long trips and it was just like straight highway. I could drive then. But if it was finding my way somewhere, forget it. Now, this is, of course, before GPS and before we had these cool things on these phones that tell us how to get everywhere. But so I had to drive from Maine. So I live in Lewiston, Maine. I had to drive from Lewiston, Maine to Greenwood Lake on Wednesday. Today is Friday. I'm sure you know that. But these are for people that watch this later, I guess. So I've been driving since almost 5 years that my husband has been gone, dead. I've been driving more, but actually I really have arranged my life so that I can walk just about anywhere I need to go locally. I have a dog stroller in which I can carry groceries, and I go everywhere I need to go in this. It's not really a small town, but it kind of has a feel of a small town. I live close enough to just about anywhere I want to go within my local town. I can go to book club, I can go to the coffee house, I can go to the bank, which I'm not even, well, yeah, I can go to the bank, I can go to 3 different grocery stores, I can walk to Walmart. It's a pretty long walk, but I often do that if I need to go. I buy my diabetic stuff from Walmart, my insulin and stuff. And I can walk to my son's house, which is nearly 3 miles away, but I make it work, and I walk about 10 miles every day if I'm not doing something other that's really important. Like today, I will be picking my granddaughter up. That's why I'm here. I'll be picking her up, and so she doesn't walk far. So I when I'm taking care of her, I don't get my walks. So, but I had to do this driving. Of course, I had the address in my phone, and it was telling me how to get there, and I was fine. I was fine driving. Now, there are times in my past that I had end up, when my kids were little, I would take them to a homeschooling event out in the country at somebody's house, and I'd get lost on the way, and I would be in tears. And my kids, they were old enough to know how to get there. They yeah, they would have to tell me how to get there, and I would arrive in tears. So anyway, that's my history. So on this trip, I was driving. I was great. I was driving really well. I was driving so good, and I felt so alive and capable. And I'm just thanking Carnivore for my new brain, and I'm just like so happy. And then there was this exit called 15A, and I'm also looking at my gas because I had only filled up right before I left, and it was on a quarter of a tank. And I'm like, well, I might be able to make it. I might be able to make it. And what I thought said 30 minutes left, it was 30 miles. So it's like I wasn't really sure I could make it. So I'm driving, and this 15A, I pass it up because it was difficult to get on. I could not identify it. So there was all this, at least 10 minutes of driving and turning and driving and turning to get back where I was before the exit that I was supposed to take the first time. So then I'm realizing, well, I have used up an eighth of a tank to do that, and I still am not anywhere close to my destination. And so when you're on the highway, and that particular highway, interstate, or whatever it is, you can't just pull off the road and there's a gas station that you can see from the side of the road, right? There never is. You have to take an exit, and then it might be there and it might not, and you can't see it from the road. So that is a challenge to me, to believe that there's going to be a gas station at the end of this exit. So anyway, I'm driving and I'm worried about my gas. I'm looking at my meter. I'm like, shit. And then I see a gas station, and I'm just like driving, pull over really fast, and I get gas. So you know what? I'll tell you this: before my husband died, I didn't know how to do gas. I didn't know how to get gas. I had to learn it. Yeah. And now I'm a pro. Right. That doesn't really have anything to do with carnivore. It has more to do with the resilience of the human spirit, I think, because there were things I was just forced to learn. And that was one of them. I had to learn how to fill up my tank with gas. So, anyway, I filled up my tank with gas, and then I'm like, okay, I still need to get to this exit. So, I'm following the directions in my phone, and I drive, and it says, okay, get off 15A, and I'm looking, and there's no 15A, and I'm like, shit. And then I'm in the loops of trying to get back on the highway. So that's 2 times. So I said, God, I have to be able to do this because I can't get there unless I get off of this interstate and get on 15A. So anyway, the third time it came around, somehow, I prayed. I am not a praying person. Um, I could tell you the whole long history, but I grew up in the church and I have a lot of PTSD over the church. So I'm not really a praying person at this time in my life, but I prayed to God to help me find the exit. That's how desperate I was. Okay, but I'm not upset. And I noted that. I'm not upset. I'm thinking there's all these people on this highway who have, I've been honked at 3 times because, I'm not great at changing lanes and whatever, but nobody hit me. I haven't had an accident. And all these people are going to their destination and they're figuring it out. So I can figure this out. I'll be able to figure it out. I know it's going to work out. And in the past, instead of thinking that way, I would have said, I'm so stupid. I'm more stupid than all these people because they can do it and I can't. Well, that did not even cross my mind. I just said, I'll be able to figure it out. Doesn't matter how many times I have to pass this exit and not get it. I'll be okay. I know I'll be okay. So somehow I found the exit and I got off of it. The feeling of relief just rushed over me. And I felt so good. And I made it here. I made it here in plenty of time. I was trying to get back, like I was supposed to be here probably at 4. I think I got here at 5. And I had left my house. No. I had to drive by my son's house to get him to fill up one of my tires with air because it was low. So I was late leaving, and yeah. So anyway, I got here in time. But I wanted to be able to eat supper because I hadn't eaten all day. It's just easier when you're driving all day. Just don't eat. I don't. I don't stop to pee, and I don't eat when I'm driving to New York, and that's how I do it. So I wanted to get back in time to have supper and then watch my friend Charlene Anderson be on the steak and butter game. And I made it at about 5:30. I had plenty of time to eat and relax before the Zoom that I wanted to watch. And I was extremely thankful and extremely grateful that I made it. And this was such a different experience for me that I really am giving Carnivore a lot of the credit because I know that my brain works better. And part of that, I know that my emotions work better, which is very interesting because of this tie-in we have between our brains and our emotions, which is so interesting to me. So I wanted to go over, I just want to make sure I'm okay with time. I wanted to go over things about the carnivore diet that makes this possible. I wanted to explain myself. Usually, I just explain how I feel about something and I don't really go into any kind of scientific stuff, Is that something on my face? And it's just a deep wrinkle. Okay. um, sorry. So, when you eat a carnivore diet, basically you either just eat ruminant meat and salt and water. That's the lion diet. Or you eat any kind of meat or animal product. Or, and that's just the carnivore diet. Or you eat the diet called beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, or it's also called triple B and E, which is basically what I'm doing right now with decaf. Is that my only cheat? Yeah. So beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and salt, and decaf. That's what I eat. But when you don't eat plants, so all plants that we call vegetables that we have in our diet as an omnivore have a certain level of natural occurring toxins. You can look it up. They are called things like lectins, oxalates, phytates, and there are hundreds more. And they are basically pesticides that plants produce to protect them from insects. And they work like pesticides that humans use against pests like insects or even rodents. They get into your system and make you sick. That's how pesticides work. And that's why they kill bugs and rodents. Well, these toxins in plants are not out and out ready to kill you, but they get into your body and they are small. And for many people, they don't bother you until they stack up, until you get some kind of disease or autoimmune disease or who knows, type 1 diabetes or rheumatoid arthritis or, and I'm basically just naming some of the diseases that I've been listening to people, many of which have been healed on the carnivore diet. I have heard a few people healing type 1 diabetes, but the circumstances are, I don't want to get into that today. Circumstances are a little different, and I'm still working to heal. So the plant toxins, look them up, see if you can get a list of plant toxins, do your research. There are many. So my friend John, carnivore teacher, has written a book. John Laspina has written a book called Beyond Oxalates, and it's all about the plant toxins, which is a really good book. Sally K. Norton has written a book called Toxic Superfoods, and it's about mostly oxalates. And we've known about oxalates for a long time, and we've known about plant toxins for a long time. And I will tell you a story. I still remember I had heart-to-heart talks with my mom while we were washing dishes at the sink in my kitchen that I grew up in. And I remember her telling me, now she didn't go to college, but she went to a 5th year of high school. And that's what some kids were allowed to stay in high school for one more year, and they would, study some of the subjects that I think she probably took a lot of home ec and other, I don't know. She was pretty smart, but anyway, I remember her telling me that spinach had oxalic acid. She didn't call it oxalates. She called it oxalic acid. And she mentioned that some plants had arsenic in them. And I'm like, and we still eat them? And she says, well, it's just a little bit. But so people knew about it. And so I'm 70, I'll be 72 next month. That was a long time ago. It was over 50 years ago. That was probably about the same. It was probably around the time I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 16, which was 55 years ago. So I just thought that I wanted to mention that because I thought it was really interesting. So you're avoiding plant toxins for one, which means that inflammation in your body clears up. And that's why so many carnivores get well, because the inflammation goes away. All right, but also you're eating animal protein and animal fat, and those are extremely important in health and in brain health. So I'll mention 2 books right now from Harvard doctors. Oh, I meant to look up what his specialty is. I think I don't remember. But Dr. Georgia Ede wrote a book called Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind, and she is a psychiatrist um, at Harvard and teacher. And it's a I I tried to read it. I I couldn't finish it. I checked it out from my library. I've heard a lot of people really loved that book when it spoke to them, and I highly recommend it. I wasn't able to read it, but Georgia Ede has been in. She's given many interviews, and she is a very sweet, wonderful lady, and her interviews are amazing. And so, if you don't read the book, you can look her up on YouTube and hear her interviews because she's awesome. And then the other doctor is Dr. Chris Palmer, and his book is called Brain Energy. And both of these books are about now his is more about the keto diet. Georgia Eads is about the keto diet, but she also talks about the carnivore diet in it, and how diets that are high in animal fat allow your brain to heal. And so your brain is an organ, and it can heal just like your intestines can heal. You know, one of the biggest things that heals on the carnivore diet is Crohn's and diverticulitis and other bowel problems. And so the brain is not unlike the bowel. It can heal too. It can have lesions in it, as in MS, because people with MS have been healing on the carnivore diet. Hundreds, many people. I've heard so many interviews of people healing from MS, but there can be problems in your brain that may not show up on an MRI, but if you're using the ketogenic principles in your carnivore diet or even a ketogenic diet, your brain can heal. That means that things like, and I'll just mention the ones that I have heard in testimonials because I'm not going to make any kind of claims, but I have heard, I'm going to have to look this up. Oh, it disappeared. Someone's agreeing with me. This is true, Amy. I just did 60-hour fast, and I will tell you I didn't feel well at all. My brain needs the fat. Oh, right. Yes. Okay, so depression, anxiety, ADHD, OCD, MS, bipolar. I'm thinking of individual testimonies that I have heard all mention these brain issues. So I'm mentioning one right now. Highway anxiety. It's highway anxiety. That's what I had. I think it should have a name. I definitely think it should have a name. Let me get my glasses on because I'm getting comments here and I don't want to miss any. And I wish there was a way that I could see. Oh, Parkinson's and dementia. You're right. Parkinson's. If you want to look up Mimi Morgan, she healed her Parkinson's, and I have a friend with Parkinson's who's trying to heal. I wish I knew carnivore before I had all the. Why does it go away? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Right. So, anyway, brain health. And I have known, I did not learn about this particular part of. Somebody's using a big saw out there. It's loud. Sorry. I have known that the brain was an organ that could be healed if you healed your body. I just didn't know how, and I certainly didn't think that my easy, I was easily confused, um, anxiety from getting lost, anxiety from not being able to find my way around inside of a building, but suddenly now I can. I can find my car when I park it in the parking lot because everything makes sense now. It's amazing. Now I didn't really have um, I didn't have anxiety to a level that I would take medicine for it because it wasn't like a generalized anxiety, and it wasn't social anxiety either. I do find in crowds, but it was directional anxiety for sure. My directions are much better. It's amazing. Um, yeah, and I plopped down here in a city I've never been to before, and I learned where I can walk to make my miles up, and I'm fine walking in a new place. I would have never done this before, and I moved to Lewiston, having never really been there before, except to visit my son. So, um, yeah. So my kids love me so much. I'm getting texts from my kids now, and I really, just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, so anyway, oh, I know what else I wanted to say. Right, I almost forgot. Um, I am a Kilts Health coach, and I do group coaching, and my group that I have now is on Thursday nights at 7 Eastern for a Zoom call, and we also have a WhatsApp group where we share information back and forth and pictures and thoughts, and if we're having problems during the day, and we support each other and all that. And that's my group coaching, called Brisket Boomers Community. And if I had enough people to have another group, I could do the Zoom call. So you get one Zoom call every week, and you pay by the month. And um, I would make another group if I had enough people to make another group. Um, it's not a big group, so you get personal attention, and and then I also do individual coaching for health coaching. So, if you have any of the issues that I deal with blood sugar a lot, but I've learned how to be really insulin sensitive by the things I do in my life, like walking 10 miles a day. Not that you have to walk that far, just learned it works for me. Walking, improving my sleep, improving my circadian rhythm, um, and exercising every day. So, um, I coach, and then you can contact me here. Let's see what this is. Hello. You can contact me here or on Instagram or Facebook. When people quit your group, are they still in the oh in the WhatsApp group? How does that work? Um, I actually form a new group every month. I've actually thought about having a Facebook group with all my former people that have been in my groups before, but I have not done that yet. I just make a new, and on WhatsApp, you can actually, this is a coach who also is thinking about group coaching. Um, on WhatsApp, you can drop people and you can add people, and I actually learned how to do that. It's quite amazing that I learned how to do that because internet is another place where I get a little bit anxious, but I've gotten much better at it. So carnivore. I don't know. Maybe it's just learning and being more confident. But I have become more confident since carnivore, and it really feels like that's what it is. So, anyway, I'm Amy Fields Perrin on Instagram and on Facebook. You can DM me or do Facebook Messenger, or you can comment on this video, and I will definitely get back to you. And, have a new group in a few days that starts on July 1st. So, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it, and I would love it if you would subscribe and like this video because it helps me a lot. And I'm so happy. And yeah, thank you, Carnivore. I will tell you one more thing. So today at lunch, I thought I was going to have a burger and bacon, one of my favorite meals, and then put butter on it. And I realized that I didn't have any burger meat thawed out. So I didn't fast. I ate 4 eggs with a big hunk of butter cooked in butter. So that was like, that felt so good. And I feel really good this afternoon. And I'm happy and thankful that I can eat eggs. And there's got to be a way I can get these to stay up here. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. Next week it'll be back at 3. I had to do 2 o'clock today because I've got to pick up my granddaughter. Oh, you know what? I might have to do the same thing next week. So for a few weeks it'll be at 2. And then I'll go back to 3 when I'm home. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.